been foggy around here last few days, almost a week now. It's cold fog. It's only like 30 degrees, but it feels like it's 15 degrees. Just this cold, wet air constantly. And you can't see out very far. And it's just been reminding me of this fog I had in my brain. Even after I quit smoking weed, I had pared down the vices all the way down to weed. And that was the hardest one. It took me the longest. And I finally was able to dump that. But I'd still have this foggy brain for like a year. And it took me a while to realize I was still eating donuts. I was still eating pints of ice cream. And I didn't get away with that stuff. I'd never gain a pound. I'd eat like a half a dozen donuts and never put on weight. I've always been lean. So it was never like a huge motivator to have to cut that stuff. And I associated the foggy brain to the weed. But you just keep trudging ahead. You just keep doing it. It eventually goes away. Get a workout in. Mind clears up. But once I quit and the foggy brain stayed, I really started to evaluate, okay, what's going on here? What is this? And it was all these junk calories I was putting in my body. And I have this foggy brain, sluggish energy in the morning. I'd get up. I've always been really regular, like 4 a.m. I just wake up. But that weight would influence me to just want to go back down and just stay in bed because I'd feel so heavy and my brain just didn't want to kickstart. And so I had to clean that stuff up. I had to clean the diet up because it was holding me back. And that's the biggest way it was holding me back. I started smoking cigarettes when I was 13. And I was always really active, skateboarder, bodyboarder, BMX bikes. Then when we moved up to Washington, it was mountain bikes, skateboarding. And I would even run. But all through my teenage years, heavy drinking, pretty much any drug, you name it, I was open. I'd be down. Still rallying around. And just being young and not recognizing all of that was just to suppress the pain. And it took me a long time. But I always had this thing inside of me. Every time I'd get in trouble with cops or I'd be in court, there's just this thing eating inside of me of like, what did you do? Why are you doing this? It's just so much misery that you have to pull yourself through and out of. And the quick fix, the easy fix, was just keep partying. Just keep doing what you know how to do because you know what the results are going to be at least. There's no mystery in that. But it starts eating at you. And it doesn't stop. And I was lucky, I think, that I always had this part of me that had to move and like do something with my body and move energy out. If I didn't have that, it'd probably be much worse for me. But I had a few moments in life where I know a big one was when I went to Alaska. I climbed this huge mountain. First time I'd ever climbed a big mountain just by myself. It was there. There's a trail, main trail to get up to it. And then some scrambling at the top. And I get to the top of this thing and my lungs were burning. I was still smoking and drinking pretty heavy at that point. I'm 21 and had a joint to have at the top. But I get up there and it was a suffer fest, but it was incredible. I consider it my first spiritual experience. First time I'd ever seen glaciers in real life. Massive views. And I realized that this huge moment was worth the hard work to get to. And I wanted more of it. But if I was gonna do more of it, drinking and smoking was not gonna support that. I was able to quit smoking pretty quick after that. It took a while for the drinking, but eventually that went too. And because I was clinging on to these mountains and these experiences that really tested me physically and mentally. Because yeah, you can trudge, you can get your body in shape, but it's an effort. And if you aren't willing to put in that effort in your head, then it doesn't matter how much in shape you are for something like that. And to accomplish those summits and get up there and have those spiritual experiences, for lack of a better word or explanation on what you feel, what I felt, helped me to start chipping away at that stuff. And I was able to stop drinking, stop smoking, stop doing hard drugs. In a matter of a couple of years, just being in Alaska, I was living in my tent too at the time. I lived in a tent for about 6 or 7 years, perpetually in a tent, not always in the same place. But summer times in Alaska, I was in a tent, and then I would travel in the wintertime and be in a tent all around the world. And yeah, in a matter of like 2 or 3 years, I was able to kick all that hard stuff and really turn things around and start to face some of the shit that I hadn't wanted to face. And it was hard, but I really attribute the intense physical effort of climbing mountains and being in nature to be a huge part of that for me. And so I always continued to have like the physical aspect be one of the cornerstones of growth for me. And I think it works for most people. I really do. I've seen so many people just once they learn what they can do physically and how that can change their mental state and get them more in touch with who they really are inside, you can start to make these big changes in your life. Especially if you know that it's something that's been gnawing at you inside for a long time. Because we all, well, most of us, I mean, there's sociopaths out there, there's true psychopaths. But in all honesty, most of us want to do better and be better. And we have that drive inside of us. We have that fire that's burning. The moral compass, so to speak, driving us to be better and to raise the vibration in ourselves and everybody else around us. So I'm always going to be looking to that, and I want to share that with people. I want to share that process, share that inspiration, and help you guys find your mountains to climb, your tents to retreat to, and that fire inside of you that is burning and lighting the way.